Hello everyone, I am Jello T. Orkeo of SE3AE. I am a member of the Green Horizon Group of Publications, Chief Comic Strip Artist. A pleasure to have you in this wonderful day. So, here is my short video for our activity given by our instructor, Ma'am Leilani, which we will tackle about the research that we have found in the English for specific purposes, English for the academic purposes, and the English for occupational purposes. So here is what I have gathered based on my research and how I collected those information and make it concise. So, let us begin class. So, just a quick reminder before we start with our short video. I have a laptop here in front of me so that I could recall some information that I have concisely thought out or concisely written out so that I can recall some information that are garnered here for us or for me to make this short video. So hopefully this is acceptable for you, Ma'am Leilani. So without further ado, let us start with one of our specific purposes for the English language. So for the number one, which is the ESP or the English for specific purposes. So it focuses on teaching the English language for developing communicative skills, whether in an occupation, profession, or in any particular fields, but in a broader or generalized way. So what do I mean by this? It just tackles basically the fundamentals, the basics from the English structure and etc. So it only talks about the simplest parts of the English language, which you will be utilizing or needed for your everyday use, which is just your essentials. As here in my short drawing, it says here is that it focuses more on the essentials, which is here in the English language. So that is for our very first of the three purposes, which is the English for specific purposes. So now that we are done with the first of the three, let us now tackle the second part, which is the English for academic purposes. So coincidentally enough, the English for specific purposes is connected with the English for academic purposes. So let me just explain it to you that it focuses specifically on the academics, of course, for the language skills, the competencies that are required in the higher education context, or in this example, let us use the Cavite State University, Cavite City campus here, where it is the tertiary level for us, where we learn English language and to have a proficiency or have the mastery of using the English language. So, of course, as I said earlier, as its name suggests, it focuses primarily on your academics, from the gradings, from the criteria, rubrics, and etc. So that is for the EAP or the English for academic purpose. So now, for the last of the three, let us talk about the EOP or the English for occupational purposes. So, the EOP focuses more on the areas of the study where the English is needed for their jobs or occupations. Practical applications of using the English language is necessary here to have a role for you to work in industries or workplaces. So, that is the essence of the English for occupational purposes. It tackles more on how you use the English language based on what you have learned from previous context or previous studies that you have, especially when you are, or in the past, you have studied specific tracks. Like for example, here is English for academic purposes, where it tackles the needs, the proficiency, or the mastery of the English language that you can utilize here in your career. So that is all for the descriptions that I have garnered here for our short video. So now, let us tackle right in with their similarities and differences first. But of course, before I do that, I will first tackle the similarities first so that we could have a further or better understanding of these three purposes for English. Now, let us dive right in. Now, with the similarities, let us say that for the first part here, they all have the three approaches on teaching English, appropriate for their specific needs, whether for specific, academic, or occupational purposes. Of course, all of them have different approaches, but they all have one goal, one objective, which is for you to learn the basics, the essentials, the complexities of the English language. That is one of the similarities here that I can give for these three English purposes. And next is, while that they have, of course, different purposes, they are all connected to one objective, which is that it is actually a learner-centered approach. Each goal and objectives, whether in a memorization or practical setting, is that they are all relevant for the learners to have here, so that you can use it on however you want, however you wish to, or how you want to utilize it. You can use it as a way of just communication, or just a way for you to even find a career in your adulthood. So that is one of the similarities here that I can give for the three English purposes, which is that they are all learner-centered approach and are essential for us or even everyone here to have in our everyday daily lives, just by learning how the English language works and how the English language is utilized, whether in a local setting or in an international setting, just however you want it to use. It is based on what you have learned and how you want to use it. It can be for your own good, for everyone's good, or in any way you want. As I have said earlier, it depends on how you want to use it after learning all of these purposes. Okay? Now, let us tackle the last part here, which is the differences. So, from their titles alone, the ESP, the EAP, and the EOP, they have their own purposes. Obviously, when you have read their title, one is for the specifics, one is for the academics, and one is for the occupational purposes. But I will be tackling here more on the EAP and the EOP because, as I have stated earlier, the ESP, or the English for specific purpose, is much broader or more generalized. So, let us first start with the EAP as to why they are different. The EAP, as from the name itself, the academics, it is more on the academics approach. It focuses more on academics because it prepares the learners for or to study for higher education, like for example, in the tertiary level in college. On the other hand, for the EOP, or the English of occupational purposes, it focuses more on the practical skills of the English learners or the English language learners, in which they need to land a role on jobs for workplaces or industries. So in order for them to, of course, have work, to have a career, to meet their needs, financial needs, and etc. So that is one of the differences I can give here for the three English purposes. And then, let us now tackle the very last part of the differences here, which is actually important to learn. So I will not be talking about, again, the ESP here, but I will only talk about the EAP and the EOP. Okay, let us start. The skill requirements for the English for academic purposes and the English of occupational purposes are different here. Because here, in the academic purpose, it emphasizes here our critical thinking, our creativity, and of course, the proficiency of the English language. While for the EOP part, it emphasizes here heavily our professionalism or the mastery of the English language, especially in our daily or communication settings to every workplace interactions. So, that is all the differences that I have pointed out here for the three purposes and of course for the similarities. That is all what I have garnered based on my research for these three purposes. For the specific needs, for the academic purposes, or for the occupational purposes concisely. So hopefully in this short video, I have somewhat or somehow be informative on what I have researched here. Because this is important for us English majors to have a land or to land a critical spot for our careers so that our mastery, our proficiency in the English language skills are fully utilized when we are now in our fields, which is of course being a teacher for the future generations. So, this is Jello Tiarkio. I am the student of SE3AE and also a chief comic strip artist for the Green Horizon Group of Publications, here saying my thank you and goodbye to you all, especially to Ma'am Leilani. So again, hopefully I have given sufficient information for this short video based on what I have found, and I have tried to make it the information a bit concise and easy to understand for you all. So again, thank you and goodbye everyone. And this is for my activity 1 for the BSE 111. Thank you and goodbye.